could I ever think her like her nephew?
You can be at no loss, Miss Bennet, to understand the reason of my journey hither.
Indeed, you are mistaken, ma'am. I have not been at all able to account for the honour of seeing you here.
Miss Bennet, you ought to know that I'm not to be trifled with. But however insincere you may choose to be, you shall not find me so. My character has been ever celebrated for its sincerity and frankness, and at the cause of a moment like this, I shall certainly not depart from it. A report of a most alarming nature has reached me 2 days ago. I was told that not only your sister was to be most advantageously married, but that you, in all likelihood, be soon afterwards be united to my nephew, Mr. Darcy. Now, I know it must be a scandalous falsehood. I instantly resolved on setting off for this place to make my sentiments known to you.
If you believed it impossible to be true, I wonder you took the trouble of coming so far. What could your ladyship propose by it?
At once to insist to have such a report to be universally contradicted.
Your coming to Longbourn to see me and my family will be rather confirmation of it. If indeed such a report is in existence.
If? Do you pretend to be ignorant of it? Were you not yourselves industriously circulating this report? Do you not know that such a report is spread abroad?
I never heard that it was.
Oh, well, can you then equally declare that there's no foundation for it?
I do not pretend to possess equal frankness with your ladyship. You may ask questions which I shall not choose to answer.
This is not to be borne. Miss Bennet, I insist on being satisfied. Are you engaged to my nephew?
Your ladyship has declared it to be impossible.
Well, it ought to be so, it must be so, while he still retains the use of his reason. But your arts and allurements may, in a moment of infatuation, have made him forget whatever he owes to himself and all his family. You may have drawn him in.
If I have, I shall be the last person to confess it.
Miss Bennet, do you know who I am? I'm almost the nearest relation he has in the world, and I'm entitled to know all his dearest concerns.
But you're not entitled to know mine, nor will such behaviour as this ever induce me to be explicit.
Let me be rightly understood. Miss Bennet, this match to which you have the presumption to aspire can never take place. No, never. Mr. Darcy is engaged to my daughter, so what have you to say?
Only this, that if he is so, you can have no reason to suppose he will make an offer to me.
Their engagement is of a peculiar kind. From their infancy they have been destined for each other. It was the favoured wish of both his mother and of hers. From their cradles, we planned the union. And now, at the moment in which it is accomplished in their marriage, to be prevented by a girl of inferior birth, of no importance to the world and wholly unallied to the family. Do you have no regard for the wishes of his friends or to his tacit engagement to Mr. Bow?
And what's that to me? If there's no other objection to my marrying your nephew, I shall certainly not be kept from it by knowing that his mother and aunt wished him to marry Mr. Berg. You both did what you could in planning the marriage. Its completion depended on others. And if Mr. Darcy is neither by honour nor inclination confined to his cousin, why is not he to make another choice? And if I am that choice, why may not I accept him?
Because of honour, prudence, nay, interest forbid it. Yes, Miss Bennet, interest. For do not expect to be recognised by any of his family and friends, while you wilfully act against the inclinations of all. Miss Bennet, do you have no regard for his honour?
Well, with regard to his honour, the situation you suggest are heavy misfortunes, but the wife of Mr. Darcy must have such extraordinary sources of happiness necessarily attached to her situation That she could, upon the whole, have no cause to repine.
You obstinate, headstrong girl. Is this your gratitude for my attentions to you last spring? Let us sit down. You ought to know that I came here with the determined resolution of carrying my purpose. I have not been used to submit to any person's whims, and I have not been in the habit of brooking disappointment.
That makes your ladyship's situation at present more pitiable, but it will have no effect on me.
I will not be interrupted. My nephew and my daughter are formed for each other. Their fortunes on both sides are splendid. They have been intended for each other by the voices of every member of their respective houses. And what is to divide them? The upstart pretensions of a young girl with no family, no connections, and no fortune? Oh, is this to be endured? It must not and shall not be. If you were conscious of your own good, you would not wish to quit the sphere in which you were brought up.
In marrying your nephew, I should not consider myself as quitting that sphere. He's a gentleman. I'm a gentleman's daughter. So far, we are equal.
But who was your mother? Who were your uncles and aunts? Do not think that I don't know their condition.
Well, whatever my connections may be, if your nephew has no objection to them, they can be nothing to you.
For once and for all, are you engaged to him?
I am not.
And can you promise me never to enter in such an engagement?
I will make no such promise, and I never shall. I am not to be intimidated into anything so wholly unreasonable. Your ladyship wants Mr. Darcy to marry your daughter. But would my giving you the wished-for promise make their marriage at all more probable? Supposing him to be attached to me, would my refusing to accept his hand make him wish to bestow it upon his cousin? Allow me to say, Lady Catherine, that the arguments with which you have supported this extraordinary application have been as frivolous as the application is ill-judged. You have widely mistaken my character, if you think I can be worked on by such persuasions as these. How far your nephew might approve of your interference in his affairs I cannot tell, but you have certainly no right to concern yourself in mine. I beg you to be no farther importunate on the subject.
You have no regard, then, for the honour and credit of my nephew, you unfeeling, selfish girl.
Well, I think you've said enough, Lady Catherine. You've insulted me in every possible method. I must beg to return to the house.
So, you were determined to ruin his reputation in the eyes of everybody?
I have said no such thing. I'm only determined to act in that manner which, in my own opinion, may constitute my happiness, without reference to you or to any other person so wholly unconnected with me.
So, you want to ruin him in the eyes of the opinion of all his friends and make him the contempt of the world?
Neither duty, nor honour, nor gratitude have any possible claim on me in the present instance. No principle of either would be violated by my marriage with Mr. Darcy. And with regard to the resentment of his family, or the indignation of the world, if the former were excited by his marrying me, it would not give me one moment's concern. And the world in general would have too much sense to join in the scorn.
Very well. I will now know how to act. Do not imagine, Miss Bennet, that your ambitions will ever be gratified. I came here to try you. I hope to find you reasonable. But depend on it, I will carry my point. I will take no leave of you, Miss Bennet, and I will send no compliments to your mother. You deserve no such attention. I'm most seriously displeased.